Part 1. Exposing the Illusion of Scripture. For more than 2,000 years, humanity has believed that truth lives in the Scriptures. People read, recite, quote, and debate. And yet, amid all those words, the silence of the Buddha has been forgotten. Scriptures, with all their sacred grandeur, have become a fine robe that the spiritual ego wears. The more one understands intellectually, the further one drifts from awakening. Because, as the Buddha said, whoever sees the Dharma sees the Tathagata. Whoever clings to my words has not truly seen me. Diamond Sutra. The modern world keeps repeating that same ancient mistake. Religious universities, commercial meditation retreats, and 5-day enlightenment courses flourish everywhere. YouTube algorithms recommend understand the Dharma in 10 minutes. AI models now generate thousands of digital sutras. And people think they are approaching wisdom, while in truth, they are entering a maze of information. They study to know, not to disappear. They chant to remember, not to see. And they forget, the Buddha never taught for understanding, but for awakening. No scripture was ever written by the Buddha himself. He left no textbooks, no doctrines. What we now call the sutras are memories, recorded decades or even centuries after his passing. People recalled, interpreted, edited, rearranged. Every line carries the fragrance of those who remembered, not the breath of the one who awakened. Thus, when we read the scriptures, we are reading a translation of silence. We are hearing an echo of what could never be spoken. That is not wrong, as long as we know it is only an echo. But once we mistake the echo for the truth, we begin to worship words instead of seeing light. Just last month, a major religious organization in Asia was investigated for turning sacred texts into NFTs, selling them on blockchain with the slogan, "Preserving Eternal Truth." The sacred became a digital asset. This is the paradox of our spiritual industry age. Meanwhile, in the West, AI models are being trained to preach like the Buddha. But can algorithms understand silence? Can machine learning replicate the unspoken? That single question shakes the entire foundation of digital spirituality. The Buddha never denied knowledge. He simply saw where knowledge ends. Knowledge is like a lamp. It can light the road, but it is not the sun. If you stop at the lamp, you'll see only a little light. But when you drop even the lamp, you'll behold a boundless sky. So too, Scripture is a raft, yet people build houses on it, arguing who lives on the higher floor, forgetting that a raft exists only to cross the river. The Buddha is not in the words. He does not hide within the verses. He is the light between the lines. If you read with an empty mind, there will come a moment when the letters dissolve, the meanings vanish, and only pure seeing remains. That is when the Buddha appears, not in sound, not in scripture, but in the living presence, here and now. Whoever sees the Dharma sees the Tathagata. Samyutta Nikaya. You need go nowhere else, for the one who truly listens without grasping is already the Dharma unfolding. Part 2. The nature of language and the betrayal of words. Language, humanity's most noble tool, is also the most subtle trap of the mind. We speak to understand, but the very moment we speak, we divide. When a word is spoken, the real becomes the past. Light turns into a concept. The river that was flowing becomes the word water. Just like when you take a photo of a sunset, the image is beautiful, but it is no longer the sunset. The Dharma is beyond duality. Whoever speaks of it is already distant. Why do we need language? Because we fear silence. We fear the emptiness, because in emptiness there is no one to hold on to. Every conversation, every philosophy, every sermon is just a desperate attempt to escape the unknown. Modern society calls it communication, but sometimes the more we talk, the more we drift apart. You may send thousands of messages and yet never touch a single heart. We live in an age where words multiply infinitely. AI can mimic every voice, every emotion, every style, yet it can never understand the silence between two breaths. Language betrays truth, not because it lies, but because it is too small. The infinite cannot fit inside the bottle of concept. The moment you name something, you have already killed it. To call a lotus lotus is to strip away its fragrance, its color, its dew, its moment of birth and decay. Language is the shadow of experience, and when we love the shadow more than the real, we begin to worship words instead of seeing life. People today would rather argue about the meaning of the word compassion than sit in silence and feel it. In the 21st century, words have become an economy. Companies sell spirituality by monthly subscription. Online masters sell enlightenment by view count. Language, once a bridge for understanding, has become a marketplace for the ego. The paradox of our age is clear. The more teachings there are, the fewer truly live them. The more books written about the Buddha, the fewer who dare to sit still as the Buddha did. A recent AI analysis revealed over 60,000 spiritual articles are generated daily by machines. But how many arise from an empty mind, and how many are just recycled intellect? Words are waves. Truth is the ocean. Waves can describe, but they cannot contain. If you stay on the surface, you will never know the depth of water. Words like Buddha, Nirvana, or liberation are only fingers pointing to the moon. The fool looks at the finger, the wise one looks at the sky. No one can show you the way. The one who sees the way is the way. Dhammapada. Sit quietly for a moment right after this video ends. No need to understand, no need to remember, just watch the space between two breaths. You'll see, every word, no scriptures remain, no listener remains, only life speaking itself. The Buddha never taught a language, he only taught how to see. And in that seeing, all words dissolve, leaving only the light of pure awareness. Part 3. The Buddha left nothing. He only removed what humans cling to. Human beings have always believed that an enlightened one must leave something behind, a scripture, a doctrine, a legacy, a system. But the Buddha, he departed empty-handed. He left no successor. He founded no sect. He proclaimed no final truth. And that was his greatest gift to humanity. Because anything that can be left behind can also become a chain. Humans fear the void. So the moment the Buddha was gone, they created a new Buddha made of words. They gathered his sayings, edited, debated, compiled. They froze the living into something that could be memorized. What was meant to dissolve like a cloud became a statue of stone. The higher the statue, the farther the Buddha drifted. Those who see the Dharma do not see me. Those who cling to the Dharma have already lost me. Early Nikaya teachings. The Buddha did not come to add another religion to the world. He came to dismantle every religion within the mind. He did not give commandments. He only pointed, and when people tried to cling to his hand, he withdrew it. Because only when everything is released can one see that they were never bound. The Buddha gave no knowledge. He unlearned knowledge. He offered no salvation. He shattered the need to be saved. Today, in the age of artificial intelligence, hundreds of apps simulate the Buddha's voice. Thousands of AI-generated Dharma talks appear daily. We no longer worship stone statues, we worship data idols. We no longer copy sutras by hand, we download them to hard drives. Yet the essence has not changed. Humans still fear the nothingness. We still need a form, a word, a sound to cling to. We say, I'm learning the Buddha's way, but truly, We're just collecting things related to the Buddha. Once, a man asked the Buddha, "Is there a soul?" The Buddha said nothing. He remained utterly still. That silence was the only true answer. For every word spoken creates a new questioner. When you truly listen to silence, every question falls away, and wordless knowing begins to bloom. That is the moment when scripture loses its meaning because you have become the living sutra. The Buddha never taught how to become enlightened. He only showed that no one was ever unenlightened. Enlightenment is not something achieved. It is the falling away of the one who seeks. And when nothing remains to cling to, not even the Buddha, not even the teaching, in that very moment, the Buddha reveals himself. Not as an image, but as clarity looking through your own eyes. Those who search for the Buddha will never find him. Those who stop searching, he has never left. Lotus Sutra Interpretive Translation. Part 4, the climax. When the Dharma degenerates into a system. When the Buddha passed away, his teaching was still a living stream. It had no borders, no system, no commandments. But only a few centuries later, it became an empire of intellect. What was born to liberate turned into a structure of control. The so-called teaching of freedom slowly hardened into a code of conduct. And from that moment, Buddhism stopped being a revolution of consciousness and became an institution for those afraid of freedom. When language is systemized, it loses its soul. When the Dharma is codified, it loses its freedom. When truth becomes managed, it dies. Look at every religion. Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, each began with a living experience and ended as a bureaucracy of belief. Even now there are mindfulness startups, enlightenment apps, and global meditation academies. But while they sell awareness by monthly subscription, they have never truly been silent. The Buddha once said, "No one can show the way to one who already knows." Yet people still crave someone to guide, to guarantee, to ensure their souls. Thus the Dharma became a brand. Meditation schools now issue certificates. Monks debate how many stages of enlightenment there should be. Practitioners share their check-ins from retreats. And now the Dharma stands on stage as a spiritual performance. From reverence, people created ritual. From ritual, they created authority. From authority, they built power. A teaching once meant to dissolve the ego has now birthed a spiritual ego, more dangerous, more refined, because it hides behind holiness. Step into a grand temple today, and you'll see what the Buddha never built. A hierarchy. Some stand above, some bow below. Some are called masters, others disciples. Some are allowed to speak, others only to listen. Yet the Buddha once said, "In me there is no high or low, no teacher or follower, only those who are awake and those still asleep." And that's precisely where the essence was lost. People no longer wish to wake up. They only wish to belong to those who appear awakened. They no longer seek stillness but status within the path. The Dharma ceased to be a road out of illusion and became a system that protects illusion. Look at the present age. In America, corporate mindfulness is a billion-dollar industry. In Japan, digital temples live stream rituals 24/7. In China, AI recites sutras endlessly. And in Vietnam, people practice online, paying monthly to hear the sound of awakening. But if the Buddha were alive today, he would have no YouTube channel, no retreats, no subscription plans. He would simply sit in silence, and that nobody would pay to watch. Modern society cannot bear stillness. It needs new content every day to escape itself. And so the Dharma has slowly become a spiritual industry, polished, profitable, but hollow. The Buddha once said, "Like one who crosses a river on a raft, when reaching the other shore, they leave the raft behind." But humanity has carried that raft for 2,500 years, painting it, naming it, worshipping it, and forgetting the one thing the Buddha meant: let go. When the teaching becomes a system, it ceases to be light and turns into a wall that blocks the light. The Buddha never left a wall. He left the open sky. If you truly understand this, you will stop searching for the right lineage, the right method, the right teacher, and discover only a single breath, a single awareness, where nothing is left to cling to. Part 5, Conclusion. The Buddha is a living moment, not a teaching. The Buddha is not in scriptures, not in temples, not in festivals of devotion. The Buddha lives in this very living moment, the instant you are fully present, no longer performing a role. In that effortless stillness, the Buddha appears, not as a figure, but as light passing through a mind free of concepts. All teachings, all sutras, all methods of practice are merely fingers pointing to the moon. But humanity, afraid of the real light, clings to the finger and calls it the way. The Buddha did not come to build a system. He came to blow them away. Not to add a new path of practice, but to end the illusion that any path was ever needed. Today the world speaks of digital enlightenment, AI monks, and apps that calm your mind in 10 minutes. We think we're seeking the Buddha, but in truth, we're only seeking an upgraded version of the ego. The ego loves to wear robes of virtue. It loves to hear itself called a seeker of awakening. But the moment someone says there is no journey, we panic. Because if there is no journey, no destination, then who are we? The Buddha is not the one who became enlightened. The Buddha is the disappearance of the one who wanted to become enlightened. No subject, no object, only awareness shining by itself. Enlightenment is not an achievement. It is the dissolving of the achiever. When there is no one left to attain, no method left to hold, in that very moment, you are the Buddha. One day, AI may write thousands of sutras in seconds. Machines may reproduce the Buddha's voice and render his image in perfect digital light. But no algorithm can generate true silence. That silence arises only when you stop. When there is no more searching, no more downloading spiritual updates. The Buddha cannot be upgraded because he was never an older version. He is life itself, forever new in each breath. When you see this clearly, there is nothing more to say. No analysis, no explanation. For every word is a wave, and truth is the still ocean. Remember, the Buddha never spoke so that you would follow. He spoke so that you would stop. Stop searching, stop understanding, stop believing. And in that stopping, the Buddha appears, not in statues, not in scriptures, but in the awakened gaze of your own eyes.